What is up, guys? Another episode of Mixed Martial Idiots podcast. Tonight, we got a short crew, just myself, Coach Will, MMA superfan George Novo. We had a great weekend of fights. Karate Combat was cool. Sam Alvey now has a contender in Robles. George think that guy is a freaking Terminator. So do I. The PFL, Dakota Ditchifa, did her thing. And UFC 318 was this weekend. So George Novo and we're going to jump right into the UFC pay-per-view unless he has anything to add with the PFL event or to Karate Combat. You guys can look those up. And I recommend you do. There's a lot of great athletes and great fights. Huge upset. Johnny Eblen lost in the last 10 seconds of his title fight, which is a shocker, right? That's a huge blow to the MMA community bettors because everybody had Johnny Eblen. George, what do you think about maybe PFL Karate Combat before we get into the UFC event?
Well, to follow what you said, man, I really like the Karate Combat because it gives me shades of the original UFC. It's not as polished. It feels more kind of like two guys are outside. Here you go, man. Take a shot, and then you just shove them in the ring and let them go. And then, of course, the inverted walls, like for the outside, that's cool too. That adds a really different dynamic for when it does go to grappling. Um, yeah, check that out. It's on YouTube. It's free. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. And then PFL has some legit people that you have seen have runs in the UFC and people from around the world that you won't see elsewhere. Again, I don't feel like it's on the same level as what we normally watch in the UFC production, all that stuff. Whatever. Still, though, check it out. You're doing yourself a disservice to not be well rounded when there's all this stuff out there to watch. And that's all I got for that.
Yeah, for sure. There's so much fun stuff that happens in the Karate Combat because, guys, you don't get the casual aspect of the grappling. There's no dude in there all pissed off because a takedown happens. Because if these guys get someone on the floor, they have to be delivering strikes while they're on their feet, and they can't put their knees on the mat to get down there and deliver any grappling exchanges. So you would like that. It's a lot of fun, and they do a great job with what they do. Getting into the UFC 318 pay-per-view event, kicked off with Carly Judice doing her thing at the end of the third round, but it was really one-way traffic for me. George, what did you think of Carly Judice, and are we on the lookout for her? Are we going to put her on the here she comes watch for that belt? You know, when she was fighting, I could see her fighting Dakota Ditchiva. Is that crazy for me? Like, I don't know that she beats a girl like Dakota Ditchiva, but I feel like this is a great thing for you and I to discuss because of the fandom of Dakota. I think Carly Judice could give her some problems. What do you think, George?
Well, with what happened this weekend, this is the first time Dakota hasn't been able to finish an opponent efficiently in quite some time in her short fight career. And you could tell that it got in her head a little bit. You know, she always feels like, well, I feel like in her position, like you said, being the face of that franchise, you know, she feels like she's got to be out there like Mike Tyson, just straight destroying people, or, you know, she's not doing her job. And that's rough. You know, you're going to run into people that you just can't put away. There are some people out there that can take a beating. That being said, she stated that she re-signed with the PFL, and I don't feel like there's enough competition for her there to get better. And I feel like if she came to the UFC, she'd get fraud checked. And it's not because she can't fight, it's because she's not as well rounded as these other girls and hasn't had the opponents that are at her level already. Like you're not going to go on a eight fight, 15 fight win streak in the UFC with just, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that's the only thing I hate. So in this instance, yes, Carly Judice, I could see being a contender for that because, like I said, everyone in the UFC is at a level. Even your top 15 people, the people underneath that, they're all savages. You know, look at Paulo Costa. Look at the last like five guys in that division. You don't
Right.
want to fight any of those guys.
Right.
And it's the same thing. This was definitely a high energy fight, man. It set the tone for it. You know, this was a hometown girl. It was a dominant performance, man, showcasing Chris striking. She overwhelmed Nicole. finished her with a step-in knee to the body in the third round, earning a stoppage victory. This fight was a hometown highlight, and I was here for it. It got me pumped for the rest of this card.
Man, yeah, the Lafayette, Louisiana, the Louisianans went 2-1 last night, and the one that they lost was the one that we didn't want them to fucking lose, but it's all right. It was to Max Holloway. He let him down real easy. But yeah, Carly Giudice and her anti-grappling against the fence, not letting the jiu-jitsu and the wrestling of Nicole Cagliari become a factor. She couldn't do it. She pummeled underhooks and she reversed the position, and then she just let her have it on the fence. It was a great showcase for her. She's on fire. I think we've seen her fight, 3 times in the last few months now. Like, she just keeps rolling. Next, we have Bruno the Hulk Fajeda versus Jackson McVeigh. This was Jackson McVeigh's debut. He's had 3 cancellations in the UFC, and that really sucks for him because I feel like the Cedricus Dumas fight, he definitely could have won. And the kid before that was also a guy that was debuting in the UFC. So I felt like Jackson McVeigh had a really good chance to come out here and stay undefeated and get groomed in the UFC. Then, everybody started canceling him, and you got a guy like Bruno the Hulk Fajeda stick his arm up in the back. I'll take that motherfucker. I'll fight him. You should not fight Bruno Fajeda if you are young. Like, if you are lacking experience and it's early in your career, I do respect the absolute cojones it took for Jackson McVeigh to say, yes, I'll fight Bruno Fajeda, because it had to take a hell of a sack. But he has to have people around him that are smarter, right? Bruno Fajeda, judo black belt, Brazilian jiu-jitsu black belt, and an absolute fucking unit on the feet. I mean, look at that guy. He looks like he can make the cover of Men's Health at any given moment. If somebody falls out on Men's Health and Fitness and they need a cover athlete, Bruno Fajeda could be the motherfucking guy right next to Paulo Costa. He's a giant. He came out. Jackson McVeigh just kind of presented a little bit of frustration with the awkwardness of his grappling, and he did some fun stuff, but ultimately the Hulk was too much for him, man, and he got him out of there. Jackson McVeigh, I do think, has a bright future, even in the UFC. I'm not going to say just MMA. I think his build is great for that weight class. He wants to finish a fight, the entirety of the fight. He's in there trying to get things done, but sometimes you just run into the fucking heat check. We saw it with Peyton Talbot running into Hani Barcelos. Hopefully this is Jackson McVeigh's Hani Barcelos, and the next guy he fights is fucked. But we know what happens when you get a little disdain in the UFC. They'll feed you right to the fucking wolves. He might go to 185 against some murderer next again. So, Jackson, just be on your shit, man. What'd you think of that, George?
Man, what can I say? You pretty much summed it all up. Like you said, that was a short notice replacement. McVeigh, who was undefeated in his last 3, kind of ran into a roadblock here. Ferreira's grappling prowess ended that fight in the first round, and it showcased his potential moving forward. Man, the next person to fight Ferreira, I don't want to draw that card.
Yeah, that's going to be a tall order for him, man. He's going to be... Bruno needs a little help with his footwork and his striking because he's so damn strong and such a tank that he doesn't really give a shit to engage on the feet. He just shells up and takes it. That's going to be a problem at the highest levels. He needs better footwork. He needs to work off his jab, which is actually really good. And he has enough power in his hands that he can stay competitive with anyone if he has good technique because of the judo black belt, because of the jiu-jitsu black belt. He's not a guy you're going to get in a hurry to go run and grab. That's going to be one of the last things you're going to do. So he is in a perfect position to just get better on the feet and actually contend quickly. Another guy, this dude shocked me, Ryan Spann. I haven't trusted him. We never know which Ryan Spann is going to show up. We said if Ryan showed up with that grappling game, he was going to win. Lucas Bresky, he's a banger, right? Lucas Bresky can put one on your chin and put you out. But Ryan Spann, he showed up. Did you see the thighs on that dude? When he picked old boy up and threw him on the ground, all I could think was, Jesus Christ, has this dude been doing strongman competitions since he's been out? Like, He is so big. He's transformed his body. He must have been cutting so much fucking weight to get down to 205. I mean, not that he didn't look great at 205. He did, but oh my God, this is his natural weight class, guys. He picked Lucas Bresky up like it was no fucking problem. Put him on his head, beat him up. And he got his 12th guillotine in his professional mixed martial arts career. That is the Ryan Spanatine. He's down there with Saif Saud at Fortis MMA. You know, another guy on this card let me down because I've built so much trust in him and Kevin Holland that I don't want to give Ryan Spann that much trust right now, but I could see bright things in his future because of the shallow depth of the UFC heavyweight division currently. If he gets up and he beats somebody in that top echelon, he's right up there, dude. I mean, look at how long the Black Beast Derek Lewis has been up there pissing around. He wins 2, he loses 3, he wins 4, he loses 6. It's just the state. If you could finish guys in the heavyweight division, then you can stick around up there. I want him and Almeida, the Brazilian. Nobody wants to mess with him. I think Ryan Spann could beat him. What'd you think about Ryan Spann at heavyweight in Lakers colors?
Man, purple bottle, yellow bag. What can I say? Spann continued the early prelims finishing streak, man, submitting Bresky in the first round with a slick ground game, adding to the night's explosive start. Yeah, we kind of were in the same situation with Ryan Spann, like you said, that we were with Kevin Holland. It's like shows flashes of brilliance and then does like silly shit. But if he doesn't have to make an extensive cut and can focus on, more grappling and, just rounding out his game better, not walking into right hands of people that have knockout artists, stuff like that, man, like you said, future's bright for him.
Heavyweight, man. Heavyweight's one that you just don't know. You know what I'm saying? You just don't freaking know.
How long is Cyril Gahn going to be in the top 5?
For as long as fans want to see him play like a ballerina, right? That just captivates people with his movement, and it should. He is very large. For him to move like that and be that athletic, it is a feat. But Tom Aspinall doesn't do that shit, and he's going to run right through him. I see them making that fight just to get Cyril out of the picture, right? I don't think that he can hang with. I don't think that little pitter-patter ballerina footwork is going to work with Tom Aspinall. I think Tom Aspinall is going to reign for a long time. Jimmy fucking Crute. This was another one of those guys I wanted to bet the house on, but he always does something silly. I thought Prachnio was going to come out and stay standing, and he was beating up Jimmy for a second. Jimmy did well to start. He started out hot. Then Prachnio started to land, and Jimmy was like, look, guys, I'm going to be honest with you. I got to put this motherfucker on his back. I'm starting to get in trouble. And he did. Now, his first few takedown attempts were sloppy, like some stuff that you would ridicule some new guy in the gym for right away, right? Because he was selling out in almost a panic. Once he got Prachnio down, though, it was all she wrote. That transitions, he was hitting on the ground, and he ended up with that arm bar. And the way that he finished the arm bar, it was like Kevin Holland did and broke old boy's arm. So, powerful arm bar. He tucked the wrist up under his armpit, and he used his entire upper body as leverage. It was a good finish. He needed that. I'm still not super sold on the Jimmy Crute is back, though. His next fight, depending on who it is, if it's not some dude coming off the Contender Series, if it's an established vet, he called out my fucking boy, the Hanyak, Dustin Jacoby. Dustin Jacoby answered him on Instagram and said, let's run it. I think Jimmy Crute gets knocked the fuck out. But good job last night.
Man, yeah, he snapped a 5-year winless streak with a gnarly armbar submission. First round, man, marking a triumphant return and thrilling the audience with that. And, for added flash, a little bit of mullet checking out. Him and Theo Vaughn were like, hey, I see you got a mullet too. He's like, yep.
A little flippy.
Yep.
Man. Then we get into certified murder. I'm pretty sure that Islam Dulatov had to leave the country before he was tried for first-degree murder over Adam Fugit, which and it's still not as bad as the next fight, which I cannot. We'll get into that, but Adam Fugit at least threw shit back. Robert Valentine, holy crap! Fugit got cracked and is like, I'm gonna go out on my shield. All right, we're gonna combine these next two fights. At least I am. Okay.
Okay.
Adam Fugit gets fucking cracked, swings, goes out on his shield. Robert Valentine, I way overhyped him. I had way too much faith in him. Robert Valentine comes out, gets touched by Gutierrez, and at least grapple. I know you guys hate to hear that. I know that MMA fans as a whole, they don't want to hear that. But if you can out grapple a man, and he has just made the fucking world go blurry and it sounds like you're underwater, try that. Don't go back to the fence and wave him on. All right. You're not going to get a highlight reel. You're already compromised. Adam Fugit didn't do that. He came at it. He pressed the issue with Islam Dulatov, much to his own demise. But I bet you when Adam Fugit was riding to the hotel in the taxi, he felt a lot better about himself than Robert Valentine did when he was riding in the taxi back to the hotel, right? I bet Robert Valentine felt like he quit on himself. And I hate that for the guy. He's just trying to keep his job. These guys, they get on a couple of fight losing skid and they're out of there. So I could see why he was so nervous. But, man, that was a tough watch. Both of these for the loser because I'm a fan of both guys that lost. But Islam Dulatov, beautiful, savage. Let's get this motherfucker promoted. Let's get him up the ranks. He's fun to watch. Atiba Gutierrez, man, that 185-pound division, you know. Let's get Atiba in there with Bruno Fajeda, and let's see if he's the real deal or if he's fraud checked.
I like that.
What do you think, George?
Man, Dulatov, what a weapon of mass destruction he had. That's where it was contained. It wasn't in Iraq. It was in that guy's hand. Then Atiba, what
That's
can
wild
we
because
say?
he's German. Atiba Gutierrez.
Man, he decimated Valentine, man, with strikes just 70 seconds into the first round, man. That is what happens when you run into somebody that can crack, and then you get cracked, and you've never felt that power before. That's what that happens. That guy went into full-on panic mode. Whenever he got hit, he was like, "Oh shit!" And if you're gonna do that, the answer, I know it's hard. It's hard for me to sit there and be critical of somebody that's in there. Literally, it could be fighting for their life. If some bad shit happens, you know what I mean?
Right. Fair.
It's danger. But you don't turtle up. That's the last thing you want to do is just back up and put yourself into the fence and let a striker tee off on you. Like, that's not going to help anybody. Well, it's going to help his highlight reel, but it's not going to help you.
No.
Like you said, grapple. If, give yourself a chance. Be like, all right, I'm fucked up right now. I need to get this down to the ground. I need to catch my breath, get my faculties back. Something. Again, both really good fights, though.
Yeah. That's what makes like the guys that are super successful champions and veterans, like wily veterans, and guys who like fizzle out, right? Because it's one thing to pander to the crowd and enjoy the fight. I mean, shit, George, you sat 20 feet away from me while I walked the dude down with my hands down to get a reaction out of him. I'm like, I absolutely understand some of it. But I would not have done that if that guy wasn't already on notice and I felt safe. You know what I mean? Because he wasn't offering anything back. If he had smoked me, the last fucking thing I would have done was put my back on the fence and been like, let's go, dingus. No, that's not smart. We should not do that.
Yeah.
But it's like Yuri said, we have to be much better with the hands up, you know? This was a great fight, and I could not believe these guys didn't get fight of the night. Do you know who got fight of the night last night? Guess.
Vettori and Allen.
Yeah, what the fuck was that, dude? There was two fights that were way. Even the Kyler Phillips Vinicius Oliveira fight was better. We'll get into that one, but Francisco Prada and Nikolai Veretikinov, whatever. Nikolai, you are a bad man. They went at it, man. I think Francisco Prado is going to be upset with himself today that he didn't keep it off the ground a little bit more, right? Nikolai was able to capitalize in some situations and turn the tables on him. Not that Francisco Prado is not a good grappler. He absolutely is. If he wasn't, he would have got finished in some of those instances last night. And far be it for me to criticize a guy who's coached by Pahumpa at American Top Team, who is an absolute legend and coaching guys in MMA. Shit, we saw him in so many corners last night. He was there with Patricio Pitbull as well. Yeah, man, he's young, he's durable, and he just loves to fucking scrap. And I cannot hate a man for that. I'm a huge Francisco Prado fan. I hope that he gets like disciplined a little bit more, because if he tightens his game up and he learns how to be a veteran, how to like just grapple against the fence to recover, that way you don't have to go through all the steps once you get reversed of building back up, right? If I clinch you and I get a good waist wrap and we're smashed against the fence for a minute, I'm just expending energy in my arms and my hip pressure pushing you into the fence, right? And that lets me get my gas tank back. Yes, it lets my opponent, while he's fighting the lock, the fence is kind of helping him get his gas tank back a little bit, but it's much better than me being crushed against the fence on the canvas, trying to dig underhooks and then get to a hip and then build height. And then, you know what I mean? So Prado needs to realize that maybe in some of those situations, I don't need to go full takedown, because these guys train everything now, boys. It's not UFC 1 where if you can grapple, the other guy can't. No, these guys can do it all. So Prado's going to realize he could just fight on the fence and then get his gas back and get back to swinging, I hope. And we're going to see an even better Francisco Prado. And Nikolai, you're a stud, bud. What a heart and resilience and just grit. That dude just showed it all. That was, for me, if I wasn't going to give Fight of the Night to Poirier Holloway, which I would have, they should have got it. I would say these guys, Nikolai and Francisco Prado. What'd you think, George?
Man, this was a highly competitive battle, man. Hurting Prado early with strikes and surviving a late comeback to win via split decision. Nikolai, man, that's a bad dude. If you can do that, if you could fight through adversity and continue to get better on top of that, to where you don't have to, be a split decision, put him away. I've never seen an organization have a roster like this. It is crazy, the murderers in all divisions that are in the UFC. I mean, granted, there's some that are stronger than others. I won't deny that. But for the most part, you're not up there if you're not like Olympic gold medal tier athlete. It's crazy. I've never seen it. I don't know. It's a great time to be a fight fan. That's all I could say.
Yeah, dude, that's a testament to, Hunter and Hunter Campbell, Sean Shelby, Dana White, the Fertitas. They didn't just like buy the brand and then just start like paying people to come and cash out that way. They built these feeder programs. They have Cage Warriors. They have
LFA.
That's their massive feeder. They have the Dana White Contender Series. We're on season 34 or 30 of The Ultimate Fighter or some shit like that. And these guys are constantly out looking. Dana White's looking for a fight. That was a YouTube series for a long time. I mean, these guys are out doing the footwork. And really, you get on programs like this. I'm going to kind of shout us out here, like the Buzz Sports Media programming and the Mixed Martial Idiots podcast. All it takes is one of these athletes to be whooping some ass locally, right? Like a Malcolm Wellmaker was in Atlanta, Georgia, or in Georgia. And he's getting posted highlights all the time. And some media company comes up, gives him an interview, right? And that way they get Googled and they get pinged and they're out there, and you can put a face to a name. They go sleep another guy. Boom. They just take off into the stratosphere, right? That's where that push gets going, right? Like the social media era has exploded at the same time that MMA has exploded. So the two go hand in hand. And I don't know, man, I'm just really happy to be a part of it now. I feel like we can help these guys get them out there. So We could be part of that, growing that UFC, George, by finding these dingoes and putting them up. These fucking savages. Now, it was a great fight, Brendan Allen, Marvin Vettori. It was a great fight. I saw a lot of people on X saying that Vettori got robbed. I think you guys need to go get your heads checked. I think Brendan Allen won all 3 rounds. I think he controlled the positions for the most part. I think he controlled the pace for the most part, and I think he did more damage. What else do you want? He had Vettori on the way out more times than Vettori had him. Vettori's tougher than a $2 steak, and he always forever will be. That's something that won't ever go away. But I don't think Vettori has much more to give us. Maybe we do Vettori. No, that's 85. I was thinking about a 205 pounder for a dude earlier, but it's 85. No, I think Vettori's done, honestly. I don't think he's got much more to give us. I think he should maybe try to go to PFL and win one of their $500,000 prizes and sail off back to Italy.
Man, this was another trend that we noticed tonight, and I don't know if this is it strictly from me being an MMA nut and I love watching fights and me being obsessed with all things MMA, even the game, because I feel like whenever I watch people striking, a lot of times I try to mimic some of the styles that I see. And sometimes I could see in my head what I would do in a situation like that and an opening. And we talked about it a lot last night, like you would. The check left hook into a head kick. That would have ended this fight. You wouldn't have had people bitching on X because he would have been asleep. This happened several times last night where people had their arms low. They were leaning forward. It's like the perfect, just come over the top, dude. Put it on them. That's my only critique about that. Like I said, dude balled his ass out. It was a good fight. I'm not normally a Brendan Allen fan because he's a super grappler, which I don't really, not really my thing. But hey, these dudes went to war and it was a good fight. But I don't think it was fight of the night.
No, I don't think so either. And the left hook. So what George is referencing is, the open stance situation, right? Southpaw versus orthodox. And if it's closed stance, you can double jab, throw that cross, and it's kind of harder to find a head kick unless you throw like the switch, or you do it the Robert Whitaker style where he probes that 2 out and he throws the foot over the shoulder, right? Wonderboy, i.e. Stephen Wonderboy Thompson in his UFC debut. So in the open stance, they see that because the power leg is further from the head, right? It's open to him. It's exposed. So you have to kind of get them trending that way to your power leg. And it's not – the check is when they throw, then you hook. I want to see the hand fight situation on the outside until they pull the hand back from you, then a lead left hook, which welds that hand to their head, and the momentum carries them that way to your power hand, and then you can throw that 2 to set up the lead kick because you'll learn what defense they're going to throw for the hand, and then you play off that. So if you throw the cross behind the hook and they have that good high defense, that good high shell, then you're going to throw the body kick. But Marvin Vettori's hand was below his chest. So if I'm doing that to Marvin Vettori, I'm pinning his hand to his head, and I'm just hammering that head kick. We saw it a couple times last night in a few matchups. The Kevin Holland D-Rod fight, we'll get into that. Same situation. But this next fight, it was up there for me, bro. Kyler Phillips, Vinicius Oliveira. Kyler Phillips, I thought was going to ruin my night when he came out and he made Vinicius Oliveira pop, lock, and drop it against the fence, dude. He came out with a purpose, and then Vinicius, just being a zombie, wore him down. He did like the Chris Lieben thing to him. He's like, I'm just going to let you punch me in the face until you don't have any ammo left. And then I'm going to beat you up. And he did. I think I was in the process of, I was doing something at the workbench, and I wasn't even watching the fight. And I said, Vinicius is going to throw something crazy out and probably catch him. And I hear, whoa, and there's Kyler Phillips bouncing off the canvas, running away. This Vinicius Oliveira is just a straight fucking tank, and he's not going to take no for an answer. He needs to clean the technique of the hands up, because once you start getting above the Kyler Phillips level, all these motherfuckers at bantamweight can box. They can all handle themselves in the pocket. So just look out for that. But that chin, bud, he ate Kyler Phillips' best shot like 2-3 times in the first round. He ate him in succession and still didn't go out. So good luck, bantamweight division, dealing with that thing, whatever the fuck it is. George Novo, what do you think about Vinicius Oliveira?
Man, he closed out the prelims with a hard-fought unanimous decision, despite early trouble from Phillips striking. Oliveira's pressure and output scored his 4th straight UFC win, rounding out an entertaining prelims on the card. Now, I'll give Phillips credit. His mobility and his footwork is ridiculous. That dude got on his bicycle, and it was like watching a dude juggle on a unicycle professionally. It was like, bro, cut him off. Cut him off. And to Vinicius's credit, what cardio to sit there, eat all that, and just keep walking him down. Keep walking him down. Dude, that is, to me, that reminded me of Terminator 2 whenever I was a kid. He looked like Robert Patrick as the liquid fucking Terminator, the T-1000, when he chased him on the motorcycle. Is he still there? Oh my God.
He was still there.
Dude, that was wild.
Yeah, you made a comment about his leg in like the first round, and I thought you were right, George. I thought he was going to tear his leg off. This motherfucker's made out of adamantium or some bullshit.
Bro.
Now, thank you, Brian Petrie of the MMA Takes podcast, and thank you, Michael Johnson, for being a motherfucking G for that $160 you won me last night, boys. Michael Johnson showed up, and he's like, I don't give a shit where you train. I don't care how young you are, how much shit you're going to talk. I'm the menace, and I'm going to throw these things with you. Daniel Zellhuber looked like shocked, and he was in the corner telling Eric Nixick, he is so fast. When I throw my first punch, he's not there anymore. I can't find him. He never started to work that leg again after the first round, and I thought Zellhuber won the first round with, again, open stance attacks, right? Michael Johnson's a southpaw. Zellhuber's right-handed. He was going to the head. He started off throwing hard to the body, and then he just found himself in a boxing match with Michael Johnson. And if you're going to get in a boxing match with Michael Johnson, we've seen him he knocked out Dustin Poirier, who now we have to say in the history of the UFC, which hurts my heart, but in the history of the UFC, Dustin Poirier, I put him up there in the top 10, top 5 with boxing talent alone. Just hands, just pure hands. Man, go back and watch Dustin Poirier clap Conor McGregor the second time to fucking sleep and tell me he doesn't have some of the best boxing that ever existed in MMA ever. And Michael Johnson knocked him out. Daniel Zellhuber said, fine, I'm just going to toe the line and throw it with him. And that was the worst decision he could have made. He should have stayed there and chopped at the menace, but he did not. What do you think, George Novo?
Michael Johnson looks like a anime character come to life. I don't know, like he looks like he came out of a comic strip. He's got that real expressive face, the big, animated eyes, and the hands. His hands look like Knuckles from Sonic and Knuckles.
Bro. You're right.
Dude, and I've watched him fight for a long time. I remember him being on The Ultimate Fighter. That's how long I've been watching this guy fight. So I should have known better to doubt the dog in him. Daniel Zellhuber, I mean, that guy, he's like Paulo Costa. He's another model. That's what that dude does on the side. He doesn't have to do this. His family's rich. He's got 2 Lambos, but he still goes out there and fights. Oh, my bad. My bad.
But Zellhuber is a pretty Mexican man.
Still, though, him showing up and fighting, like you said, he could have closed this fight out. You're yelling, throw the kick. And I feel like he just didn't set down in it enough. And I don't know if his gas tank was gone from the first round and he didn't have it, or if he just, maybe the way he spars, I don't know. It just seemed to me like Daniel could have finished this fight if he just would have really been like, all right, I'm going to throw this kick like Mirko. I'm going to end this dude. And it never really came. And that's not any detriment to Michael Johnson. Michael Johnson fought a hell of a fight. He stepped into a guy that had way better range than him, reach. And what did he do? He started chipping away at the body. That takes a lot of balls to know that you're walking into that wood chipper and going to throw that body shot.
Yeah,
It was a good fight.
for sure. I'm going to reference Justin Gibson. So the first kickboxing class we ever taught, Tanner, Gip, and I, we were just kind of given the keys to it, right? Here, you guys can beat people up, teach other people how to beat them up, right? So it was like, oh, shit. So we got a couple classes. We got kind of comfortable, but we only had fighters in there. So Gip and I are sparring on a sparring day against each other, and he's shorter than me. I'm like 6'2". He is 5'8", 5'9". And I was just doing the rangy shit, right? Like you saw Zell Huber with the long kicks and all that stuff. And I got a little lazy with it because they were successful and he was staying far away from me until he started landing a leg kick. And I started to reach for the leg kick because I wanted to time up a long punch and put him on notice. Well, I'll tell you what happens next. He kicks me in the fucking face, right? That's what happens when you fall asleep and you don't pay attention to the game plan all the way through. As far as the kicks go, George, I'm going to equate it to football. So, you know how some teams, let's just use the Chiefs, will run the ball knowing we're not going to get a yard, 2 yards, anything manageable, but we have to stick by it so we can run those play actions and all the trick plays and shit, right? We have to at least keep them honest on the run so we can get away with our shit, right? And kicking or in that style of game plan is like the run game to set up the play action pass. You're going to kick, and sometimes you're not going to be absolutely successful with what you're doing. That's why you have to post when you kick and keep a high shell, right? So Daniel needed to, when he was unsuccessful, like he kicked the body and then Michael Johnson kicked the calf, he's got to rule that out. Like a guy like Ian Gary's a good example of that, who will just keep throwing the kick no matter what the answer is, right? Because it keeps him honest. Daniel he's not long enough in the tooth yet. He's going to go away from his game plan, and that's exactly what happened. And Michael Johnson showed him why he's a fucking vet, because Johnson did not stray away from his game plan. Next, we had 2 grizzled veterans, Dan Ige, Patricio Pitbull. Patricio looked like he was waiting for a shot, and then Dan gave him a shot at the end of the first. Was it when he finally caught Ige, or was it the beginning of the second round? And it took Dan to defensive mode rather than offensive mode, and Pitbull was able to get ahead of him and stay ahead of him. I feel like it was because of the visuals, right? And the fact that Dan was behind in the last 2 rounds that Patricio Pitbull won. I thought he won fair and square. I'm not crying a robbery or anything like that, but yeah, man, exact same case from the fight before this. I think Dan got cracked and didn't stick to the game plan. What did you see?
Yeah, same thing. He was very high on his anti-wrestling and anti-grappling. They talked about it going into it, and he showcased it well in the first. But whenever he got hit with that short, stiff uppercut with everything Patricio had, that kind of stuck with him. And they said he's never been finished in a fight, and he almost got finished there. So it probably freaked him out a little bit that he got, spooked him, that kind of power. And that kind of sucked for me. I'm a big Dan Ige fan. I really like him, but I feel like where he's at in the division, I don't think he's going to go much further than where he's at. And that's just age and, fights piling up. If he had, if he was about 5-10 years younger to continue to throw stuff in the toolbox, you know what I mean? I could see it going real there. So I hope that the UFC doesn't just kind of fizzle him out and then put him in there with an absolute killer and backpack off of him. You know what I mean? But yeah, and no hate against Patricio either. He got absolutely worked in his debut, so he needed this one. He needed this one back,
Yeah, 100%. And he had Pahumpa and he had Eric Albershine, Captain Eric in his corner, which is Henry Cejudo's coach. Man, Patricio is so good. Now, again, we got him late, so it's not going to be as crazy, you know what I'm saying, as it could have been. I feel like now with Evloev falling off, I feel like Aaron Pico should just fight Pitbull. I feel like that should be Aaron Pico's fight into the UFC. Next fight, Kevin Holland laid a fucking egg, but I don't think it was on the. Okay, I don't want to put all the blame on Kevin Holland's what he lacked. I want to give more praise to D-Rod because all these things that we talked about with the open stance stuff throughout this episode, D-Rod landed that hook, that lead hook. He's not going to kick you in the head. He can. He's going to box your ears off, and that's what he did. He used that lead. He's the left-hander now. He used that jab. It was landing effectively. So you land the jab, then you stick the hook behind it, right? And that tells Holland, okay, I can't go to my left. He's just hit me with two things. I got to bail out wide to my right. So he bailed out wide to his right, and D-Rod smoked him with that left hand a couple of times. Kevin got buzzed. He fought his ass off like he does. He should have been finished a couple of times in that fight. I can't remember how many times he got dropped. He just kept coming. After the fight, Kevin Holland said that D-Rod was slipperier than a bar of soap. Hey, man, he's a cholo from LA, bro. He's got that oil of Olay on him all the time. So he might not have been greasing. That's just his natural skin for those boys. But yeah, hell of a fight for D-Rod. If anybody needed it, D-Rod needed it last night. Kevin Holland's going to be fine. The UFC is not going to do anything to get rid of Kevin Holland. He makes him too much money. He fights too often, which might have contributed to this loss, right? Because he just fought recently. He just fights all the time. So maybe Kevin Holland could use just maybe a month break, Kevin. Maybe you just chill the fuck out for a couple months and come back and beat somebody's ass again like we know you can. Still a huge Kevin Holland fan. Always will be. Super proud of D-Rod. George Novo, what'd you think?
Yeah, D-Rod kind of looked like Derek Jeter from the east side of LA. I kind of liked it. He weathered the storm early in that. You know, I mean, I thought for sure he was just going to get ran over by Kevin. I thought this was going to be either an early submission or Kevin was going to knock him out. I did not see him winning this fight. And then, like we saw quite a bit on this, the underdog started doing it big, man. He battled back and caught him with some good counters. And then that takedown in the third round was huge. Huge, man. This is a really good fight. I was entertaining. I'm sure that the bookies are entertained by all the bets that I give them every week, and they're like, "Thanks for your money." Good
Made
fight,
some money
man.
on that one.
Yep.
We was making some money last night, George. Yeah, here's another one though. Open stance, I feel like ruled the card because the rest of the fights were open stance. Paulo Costa, Roman Kopylov. What I tell you in the garage right before this fight started. I think Kopylov is looking at Costa like a fucking bum. And I think Costa took this shit serious because he's been hurt. He does love to fight. He does want to compete. He's always going too damn hard, hurting himself training, or when he fights, he's trying to please the crowd and live up to that Paulo the Eraser Costa name. But man, did he look like on fire last night. He got a little tired with about a minute left carrying all that muscle, throwing all those shots. But from the opening buzzer to the end of the fight, he hit. I mean, how many times did he tag Kopylov with that straight right when he blitzed in? Even into the third round, he was landing uppercuts. And into the second round, Costa was like styling on his ass, dude. He was like fainting and lighting his body up, big body kicks, landing hard, heavy to the head, dude. Costa, as long as he can shore up that gas tank, he's always going to be a fucking guy to worry about at 185 pounds.
Man, what can I say? This was a unanimous decision, and I didn't know it was daylight savings time because he turned the clock back last night. That looked like the Paulo of old. Man, he went out there and executed the game plan to a T. I guarantee it was, hey, keep distance and chop this dude's body down so that he doesn't have the mobility and the power hand. You know, if you tear this guy's body and legs up, it's going to be real hard for him to catch you. Like, he's still going to throw that nuke, but you're going to see it coming with, hindered mobility. And
Right.
that's what he did. Like I said, assignment done. This doesn't take anything away from Roman. If anything, I think this will make Roman a better fighter because he walked
Yeah.
into there thinking this was going to be an easy victory. So he's going to go back to the chalkboard, go put in some more time in the gym. And I think the next person he fights, he's going to make him eat a knuckle sandwich and they're going to go night-night because he's probably pissed he lost this fight.
100%, dude. And that's what I said in the garage. I was like, this dude is just looking at Paulo Costa like a bum. Like, I don't read too much into like the embedded stuff or, the face-offs and shit like that. But you could definitely kind of tell that somebody's taking somebody lightly. Remember when Lazy Boy lost? Remember that?
Yeah.
That whole week, Lazy Boy fucking did not give a shit about old boy he was fighting. And he fucking missed weight. And he came out. His walkout took like the entirety of his song. It's just like some of these guys just start fucking believing their own hype and they get beat up and then it straightens them out. Hopefully that's what happens to Kopylov, because I'm gonna tell you a little secret, George. This was a surprise. We caught him by surprise. That's why I bet Paulo Costa as big as I bet him, because Roman Kopylov, if he's taking Costa 100% serious and they fight 5 times, I think Kopylov beats him 3 times. But this time he was just like, this guy ain't shit. And it's like, no, you're getting in there with a certified killer, my dude. Every guy that wears those UFC shorts, every one of those dudes that accepts that fucking paycheck to get in there and fight you and makes weight, they're in there to do the damn thing just as much as you are. So next time you get the call to lace them up, go take that guy serious, bro.
Yep.
Now, the heartbreak. It was not. Max put him down in the first. And I thought, oh my God, George, this is going to be a Mike Tyson fight. This is fucking terrible. It's in his hometown. And Dustin gets up like Dustin does, and he makes it a 5-round fight, won a couple of rounds. I don't think he won round 5, but I thought it was 2-2 going into 5. Yeah, what an absolute banger for Dustin to go out. What an absolute showcase for Max Holloway. I'm so fucking glad Tanner Dunphy is not on the show with us tonight, because he called that shit last week. And he's like, Max at 55, and he's a real 55er now, and Max is going to get him, and he's just on fire. And fuck you, Tanner. Good job. He really was, dude. He really was. He was cooking. I even tweeted, Dustin needs to get Max on his back for a few minutes because, Max is cooking. Great fight. Dustin showcased power, toughness, grit, like he always did. It was beautiful to see him get his little tribute and all that shit. It was beautiful to see him do it in Louisiana. Yeah, Max Holloway, sky's the limit. What do you think, George?
Man, this main event was a 5-round war that lived up to the billing as a trilogy fight for the BMF title. And Max Holloway facing Poirier in his final fight in Louisiana at the Superdome. I'm not going to call it the Smoothie King Center. Fuck that. Anyways, entered as a favorite. Holloway entered as a favorite, even though he was 0-2 against Poirier in their previous meetings. I think Dustin went out on the shield, man. He went out there and he battled back from almost getting finished in the first and told Max, like, without, emphatically, I'm here all night. Like, we're going to do this. Like, I saw this fight really could have went either way. I'm not saying it was a robbery, anything like that. It really just depend on what one judge would have went. If a judge would have voted, rounds a little bit different, it would have been cool to see Dustin get the gilly on Max. I'm not gonna lie, to see that happen. That would be great because he always tries, and it's like, a big foil in his game. But man, what a fight and what a way to go. Dustin the Diamond, man, he concluded 16 years in the UFC. That's insane. Let that sink in. 16 years of fighting. Man, in his home state in New Orleans, leaving an indelible legacy despite the loss. it was filled with emotional fans, and I was one of them. So was Will. I looked over, and Will got a little misty-eyed. Man, it was a lot. After the fight, Poirier laid his gloves in the ring and symbolizing retirement. And there was a nice little video package from his peers and his loved ones. That was cool to see. But I really thought it was classy that they let him walk out with Frank Sinatra. I did it my way. That was really baller.
Oh yeah, dude.
That was a great fight, a great card. I wish we could have been there. Good stuff.
For sure, man. And the coolest thing about Dustin Poirier, say what the fuck you will about his career, his losses. That man never said no to anyone. No one. Oh, you want me to fight Habib? Okay. You want me to fight Eddie fucking Alvarez? Then Eddie Alvarez ends it with a illegal knee to the head, and then we run it back, and then I knock out Eddie fucking Alvarez. Do you want me to fight Justin Gaethje, and he's only had one fight in the UFC, and he's a WFO champion? Sure, fuck it. Knocks him the fuck out. Oh, you want me to fight Conor McGregor as basically a martyr? Because at this point, everybody thinks Conor's going to come back to the UFC and smoke Dustin again for the second time, that Dustin had nothing for him. And he goes in there and he beats the absolute dog shit out of loudmouth Conor McGregor. I mean, who the fuck would not want to have Dustin Poirier's career? Dude, I remember before, the UFC got so mainstream, and there was a show on MTV. I think it was Tough Town or some shit like that. And they followed a couple of guys who were just like small town MMA fighters. And Dustin Poirier was on that show. And watching Dustin Poirier, what sticks out to me, dude, is his grit and determination to make it to the big show coming from Tim Kreider's gym. Watching that guy cut weight, and then he's watching the cooking channel, right? He's like, every time I cut weight, I just like to watch the cooking channel. Just gives me ideas for what I'm going to finally eat when I can. Just little things like that stick with you, dude. Thank you, Dustin Poirier, for everything you ever gave us, man. Just so awesome. And, lifelong fan right here, no matter what that dude does. Quality human being.
Hey,
next week.
What
go
about
ahead.
What about whenever he was wrapping his hands in the front seat of the car?
Oh my God, that's G shit. Now I've seen guys do that at shows,
No,
but I know what he said. I know.
You got to.
It's kind of like, wrapping your hands is like taking care of yourself. You know how to do it best, right? Like, he's such a gangster, dude. I love that guy through and through. Now we're starting to get a hell of a storm right here in Mount Morency, so I'm just going to highlight a few fights with you, George. Is that okay for next week? The fight night, Whitaker versus De Ritter, and the first fight of the night is jumping off the page at me. You might not know who Marcus Buchecha is, but he's a multi-time, no-gi champion, IBJJF champion, ADCC's, like the whole nine. He's one of the best grapplers to ever fucking grace the mats, right? He's 6-1 or 5-1 in MMA, but he's fighting Martin Buday, Martin Buday. Martin Buday is primarily a striker, but does dabble in the grappling a little bit. He tries to get guys down. If he tries to lock up with Marcus Buchecha, it'll be over quick. Have you seen Marcus Buchecha, George? Have you Googled this guy?
Yeah, his ground game's like a python squeezing the life out of a wildebeest.
What do you think about his build, though? Like, there's nothing you could fucking grab on that guy because it's just muscle.
It's crazy. It's like wrestling Prime Arnold. He's going to laugh at you. You take him down.
Oh man, that one's gonna be a banger. Amanda Hebos and Tabitha Ricci's on the prelims, George. They have Tabitha Ricci as the favorite. I think I'm gonna lean Amanda Hebos as the favorite. I think I'm gonna lean that way. But out of those two, who are you picking?
Rebus is a dynamo, man. I think Ricci's gonna get electrified. Yeah, going with Rebus.
That's probably a good fucking call. Then the next three are bangers. We got Davy Grant, Damon Blackshear, Damon Demon Bear Blackshear. Was that you or Tanner that coined that?
I think that was Tan, man.
Dude, Damon Blackshear versus Davy Grant's a hell of a fight. I think Davy Grant is a place to put your money at plus 245. I don't know. Call it a hunch. Blackshear could get it done like he always does. Muslim Salikov, Carlos Leal. That's going to be a banger. And then Bryce Mitchell, Saeed Nurmagomedov. Of those three fights, George, which one do you like the most and who do you see winning?
I'm gonna go with. You know what? I'm not gonna touch. I'm not gonna touch the Bryce Mitchell fight because even though he's a dumbass and he deserves every beating he gets because he does stupid shit, I'm not touching that with a 10-foot pole because I feel
Oh,
like he's
you're right.
gonna come back and win.
You're fucking right,
Um,
dude. I think so too.
what was the other one before that?
Muslim Salikov, Carlos Leal.
Yeah, that's the one. I think Salikov is gonna take that one too.
Ooh, he's a plus 290 underdog. You better get that on DraftKings right now. Nikita Krylov, Bogdan Guskov, which looks like a non-tattooed Anthony Smith or a hairless and non-tattooed me. I think Nikita Krylov is going to go in there and beat the brakes off him. Asu Almabayev and Ramazan Timarov. Guys, that's going to be absolute electricity. Those motherfuckers are flyweights and they don't stop moving. Go ahead, George.
How is Peter Yan not on the main card?
They moved him up. They bumped
Okay.
him up. Yeah. Shara Magomedov, Shara Bullet versus Marc-Andre Barrialt. Dude, Shara Bullet has one eye. Marc-Andre Barrialt's a fucking unit, and he's a plus 475 underdog. Maybe throw $20 on Marc-Andre. Let's talk about.
Shara's ready to get back in the win column. I think he's gonna win that fight.
You think so? I think Barrialt's gonna close the distance and throw him on his head because he knows he can't stand with him.
I think he's. I don't know, man. 0-2, his last two. I think he's gonna be hungry.
I think that's gonna play to his disadvantage. Everything you're saying, I think will happen. That's why I think he's gonna press too hard, and Marc-Andre is gonna show him the canvas at about 400 miles an hour.
Well, I'm gonna listen to Will. I'm gonna put money on him because Will didn't play this week. I didn't.
Yeah, we got like 400 bones.
Yeah.
Peter Yan, Marcus McGee. What I will not be doing is putting money on Marcus McGee as the plus 300 underdog. I'm going to go Peter Yan finish second round. I think Peter Yan is way too fucking much for Marcus McGee. I think Peter Yan beat Sean O'Malley in their fight. I think Peter Yan has won a couple other fights that he got the short end of the stick on, and I just don't think the UFC wants Peter Yan holding that belt for some fucking reason because they're just keeping him so damn far away from it. I think the frustration of that is gonna shine bright like a diamond through Peter Yan, and he's gonna beat the brakes out of Marcus McGee. George?
Yeah, all that. Speaking of beat the brakes out of somebody, Whitaker and RDR.
Dude. Man. Oh my God. I've watched too many of my heroes go out in a blaze of fucking glory and or disappointment. So this is it. If Whitaker doesn't get past RDR, I don't know what the fuck we're going to do with him, bud. We can't get him back to the belt then, right? Like we just can't. There's too many roadblocks in the way. He's lost to Chimaev. He's lost to Dricus. He's, if he doesn't beat RDR, he's out of there. And RDR could beat him, but I don't think that he's going to be able to keep Bobby knuckles out of his face. I think Bobby's going to box his ears off. And you heard it here first. I think Bobby Knuckles is going to fucking tap. All right, he's going to drop him and then sub him. He's going to club and sub him. I think he's going to put him down, and Jay Ritter is going to be underwater, and then Whitaker is going to catch that neck just because he fucking can. So I'm going to go over to DraftKings, and I'm going to go Robert Whitaker submission, $20.
Hey, you know what's funny here? That's literally what I have in not so many words for my breakdown. The Ritter's talking about finishing Whitaker with strikes, saying fuck jiu-jitsu. Well, that's blasphemy. Whitaker's going to make him eat those words. Bobby Knuckles is too fast, too slick, and too experienced. The Ritter's on a tear, but he's stepping into the deep end against a shark. I'm predicting Whitaker by unanimous decision, outboxing the Ritter for 5 rounds and sending him back to the drawing board. But if RDR manages to land the same type of knee that he hit Bo Nickel with, might change it. That's the only thing that I could see maybe happening. I don't think he's going to get a submission on Whitaker.
Man, Go ahead, finish. Sorry.
That's all. Yeah.
I don't think he's not going to get the same positions that he got on Bo Nickel against Robert Whitaker because it goes back down to the MMA experience thing, right? Like we just saw with Johnny Eblen. Johnny Eblen pressed that action when he didn't need to press that action and he ended up getting finished. Robert Whitaker's not that guy. If Robert Whitaker is beating on you, he's going to continue to beat on you. Like I see a lot of shit online about Max Holloway. Maybe he stepped off the gas against Poirier when he dropped him one of those times last night as Poirier was building back up. If you're going to, how many times have we seen Max Holloway buzz a dude and then the guy got up and Max Holloway didn't rush. He just took his time and got back to working and eventually got him out of there, right? That's what he does. That's what the elite level guys do. They don't bust the whole gas tank out, right? Trying to finish the dude and for him to build back up and then turn the tables on him. Look at the D-Rod Kevin Holland fight, right? When D-Rod's gas tank ran out, Kevin Holland had that heart and he had some more gas left. So he pressed the issue. He turned it into a fight. Robert Whitaker's not going to be one of those guys that pulls a fucking D-Rod and drops him and then misses his shots. He's going to pick his shots. He's going to set him down. He's going to chase positions that he knows he can sustain. Let's talk about jumping to the back, full back control. Against an elite grappler, you don't want to jump in their guard. You don't even want to be down there with their side control, like in top side control. You don't want to be fucking around in their legs trying to pass their open guard and be slick, trying to rain down punches. You don't. Robert Whitaker is a black belt in his own right, but he is not. His black belt and RDR's black belt are not the same. They are not the same. Just like, any other, like a recreational gym athlete, a guy who just loves it, has a blue belt. Well, when Nick Rodriguez got his blue belt, he wasn't the same as you, bro. He's just different. There's just levels, and RDR's black belt's levels above Whitaker, in the grappling. But the same can be fucking said about Whitaker's boxing above RDR's boxing. Like RDR's striking, that league, their lights aren't even on when Robert Whitaker's league's on, bro. Robert Whitaker could go to the fucking Karate Combat right now. I don't give a shit who the 185-pound champ or that champ around his weight class is, and he would mop the floor with them. And based on what we saw from Johnny Eblen, he goes over there and he smokes Johnny and that dude that Johnny just fought probably a week apart from each other. Don't forget who the fuck Robert Whitaker is, okay? Robert Whitaker has not forgotten. Had he not got his jaw and his teeth broken by Hamzat, he was surviving. That choke was obviously on the jaw. That's shoulda, coulda, woulda, but I mean, he's gonna know. He's gonna wear his experience from those fights in there against RDR. And RDR, anytime he gets within punching range, is gonna get fucking lit up. If he falls face first, guys, like if RDR falls onto his back, Whitaker's gonna be like, stand up. But if he lights him up and RDR maybe like stumbles forward like he's taking an ill-advised takedown after his brain gets rattled, Robert's going to darce him or take his back, and it's going to be awesome. That's all I got for that. Well, that is all we have for this episode. No, we don't. Salvador Hernandez. He trains out of Enzo's Jiu-Jitsu in Portland, Oregon. He was originally down here with us at Rhino's Gym in Lafayette. He is a brown belt. He is competing on Fight to Win on ESPN Fight Pass this Saturday, the 26th. Tune in, watch him. We are sponsoring Salvador Hernandez. That's our boy, so look out for him. Other than that, I am done. George Novo, do you have anything for the fans of the Mixed Martial Idiots podcast?
Yeah, I advise everybody that's into this as much as we are to immerse yourself in it and do a little bit of homework. It's kind of fun to be more than a casual, to know what you're talking about. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that. Everybody wants to be entertained. You don't have to be a certain way. But if you're going to watch it and watch it religiously like we do, then know the backgrounds of the guys that are fighting. It helps a lot. And sometimes it's really cool whenever you could break a fight down and see something coming that maybe somebody else doesn't because you've watched them like hey, I know this guy's ground game's really good, and he's notorious for this kind of choke. And then right whenever he gets down on the ground, you're like, dude, he's gonna tap this guy. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. Stuff like that's cool.
Yeah. George gets sick of that shit when he's at my house and people drop down and I go, that's ball game. And George's like, fuck you, dude. I don't even know what the next step is. I don't but sorry. One last shout out before we get out of here. A young lady, her name is Sarah Gouling. She is a grappler. I think she's 16 years old, out of Indiana. She just competed at the last Fuji tournament. Guys, she goes and finds other brackets, no gi, adult divisions, gi divisions. She had 12 matches at a Fuji and went undefeated. And I'm pretty sure they were all subs. Now, I've watched her live. Her dad is one of her main coaches. She's got a great support system. She fights out of that Dragonfly martial arts as well, along with Keaton Tyler Miller under Kenny Bigby Jr. Guys, if you want to show your love to an athlete, and they're a local athlete and you want to help them grow, maybe you're a guy, a company looking to sponsor some people. We already shout out Salvador. This young lady does not miss training. She does not miss a tournament, and she just goes out and balls out. So if any of you guys want to go out there and you want to offer her some kind of sponsorship, that is well-placed money. It's like the stock market. You're going to get your name on her gi, and she's going to carry you to success. So hopefully Sarah Gouling, her coaches, her parents, they all see this and they share the word. She deserves to be noticed. She deserves to be out there. Support local MMA, guys. Go to tournaments. Go to these jiu-jitsu tournaments. Go to these kickboxing shows, because we have just an overwhelming stock of athletes that are absolutely top tier in this state. It's really like an unknown gym, right? Like, the Midwest is just taming with these fucking animals, and a lot of people miss out on it. And I'm not going to let Sarah get missed out on. So come back next weekend for the Mixed Martial Idiots podcast. I am Coach Will. Follow me, Slick Willie MMA, on X. That is the super fan, George fucking Novo. Follow him on X. George, your handle?
It is at MMAGUXINE. MMA Magazine.
Oh, yeah. All right, guys. We are going to play Fortnite. So have a good night. Remember, leave some milk and cookies out for Dustin Poirier tonight. And we'll see you next weekend.